Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the 4th edition of the European Humanitarian Forum. I welcome you both here in Brussels as well as online on behalf of the European Commission and the Polish Presidency of the Council. My name is Ali Al-Jaberi. I'm a TV news correspondent and presenter and a former war reporter. It's a privilege to be with you. We meet as geopolitical tensions are on the rise and crises are ever more violent and protracted. Meanwhile, the space for humanitarian action is shrinking and becoming more dangerous. It is to this background that the European Humanitarian Forum has become a foremost gathering of the international humanitarian community to think out loud, uncover blind spots, and decide on how to take better action to serve those most in need. Welcome to you all once more. Let us officially kick off our meeting with a video message by President of the European Commission, Madam Ursula von der Leyen.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to open the 4th edition of the European Humanitarian Forum. A warm thank you to our co-host, the Polish Presidency, and to everyone here today for your dedication to this vital work. Your efforts change lives for people around the world. People like Abdal, a mother of 6. When war in Syria broke out, she and her family were forced to flee. In the past decade, they have relocated multiple times. And today they live in a camp in northwest Syria. Abdal buys food, clothes and other essentials thanks to support from Europe and our partners. Recently she was able to buy eggs, a delicacy her children had not eaten in a long time. This story is one of many, and it is a stark reminder of why the world needs the humanitarian system. Because your work is the difference between hunger and hope for so many around the world. This forum comes at a time of extreme and overlapping crises. From Syria to Gaza, Ukraine to Afghanistan, Sudan to Venezuela, the need for humanitarian aid is urgent and growing. Yet, so too are the barriers in action. We are witnessing drastic spending cuts, denial of humanitarian access, attacks against aid workers. These trends are profoundly wrong. We must take a firm stand against this. And ladies and gentlemen, my message is clear. The European Union remains committed. We remain committed to our role as the biggest donor of international aid in the world. So far in 2025, our union alone has dedicated almost 2.3 billion euros to humanitarian aid. In response to major crises, we have increased our support to Syria, Ukraine and Gaza, so that Syrian refugees can feed their families, Ukrainians can keep their lights on, and families in Gaza can receive basic health care. Europe will always stand with those who need it most. At the same time, we recognize the need for reform. Compare this forum to last year's edition. The landscape looks entirely different. We face a new reality, and we must change to meet it. That's why, for example, the next budget of the European Union will aim to strengthen our Team Europe approach and offer more flexibility to address large-scale emergency better. Europe will do its part to build a more resilient and effective humanitarian system. Because even as the world changes, our values endure. Our belief in human dignity, our faith in the multilateral system, and our hope for a brighter future. Thank you, and I wish you a successful event.
I thank the President, and I think your applause is in order. Our next speaker is the European Commissioner for Equality, Preparedness and Crisis Management. I'm honored to give the floor to Commissioner Hadja Lahbib.
distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, it's a real pleasure to welcome you to this fourth European Humanitarian Forum on behalf of the European Commission and with our co-host, the Polish Presidency. This is my first forum as European Commissioner, and I have been looking forward to it for a long time, I have to say. Dear friends, I would like to start with a very simple message. The European Union is here to stay as a strong humanitarian partner. We are staying with you, our commitment humanitarian family. All of us here today, I think we have something in common. When we talk about 305 million people who need urgent humanitarian aid, we don't see a number. We see a face that has touched our heart. In my case, it is Farah, a young 13-year-old Syrian girl in Zaatari refugee camp in Jordan. I remember her sad smile. I remember also her dreams to be a judge or a journalist. In Cox's Bazar, Bangladesh, I met a 16-year-old boy, but in his eyes, you could see the fear and pain of someone far older. And in Adre, Chad, I met with twin girls, victims of sexual abuse, asking me this very simple question: when can we go back to school? Today, we are here for them, because they need us more than ever. Because all these people in Cox's Bazar, Zaatari camp, Gaza Strip, and so many other places of suffering, we made a promise. No matter where they are on this planet, the European Union will be there, extending a hand, offering support, giving hope. And this is not going to change. Ladies and gentlemen, this forum takes place in a different words from last year's. More needs, less money, drastic cuts. Millions of people need aid right now due to war, climate shocks, hunger, and economic hardship. And it's harder and more dangerous to get aid to them. Access is blocked. Humanitarian workers are killed. But this will not stop us. We will forge ahead. We will continue to go wherever the need is greatest, based on principles and not politics. Sudan, Afghanistan, Ukraine, Syria, Yemen, Haiti, and far beyond. We are there, and so are many of you. UN agencies, NGOs, international organizations, and so many others partnering with the EU. We are also determined to help the most vulnerable in so-called fragile contexts. They account for most of the world's extreme poor. They face severe humanitarian crisis, limited private investment, reduced climate finance, and struggle to access development funding. This forum will contribute to developing an integrated EU approach to fragility by sharing success stories, addressing the challenges, and setting concrete ideas for future action. We will also continue to push for stronger humanitarian diplomacy to defend international humanitarian law, protect humanitarian space, and keep civilians and critical infrastructure safe. Over the next 2 days, we will explore new ways to tackle fragility and strengthen international humanitarian law. Dear friends, in times of adversity, we are often forced to make changes and do things differently. Today, I strongly believe we have an opportunity to make things better. For humanitarians, this will mean taking some tough decisions, making reforms, to be more efficient and more effective in helping those who need us most. But what will not change is who we are, our humanity, our solidarity, and our belief in helping the least fortunate among us. If we lose this, we lose ourselves. And dear friends, we can only do this together. You, me, and all of us in this room. And I would like to thank you for everything you have done and for everything you will do, as hard as it is, to make the world a little better. Better for those suffering from wars, in refugee camps, or hit by natural disasters, and better for each of those unforgettable faces you have maybe in mind right now. Let's do all this together. Let's do all we can, and even more. You can count on me and the European Union to fight for everything we believe in. Welcome again, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Lahbib. Our next speaker is Director of the Development Cooperation Department at the Polish Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I welcome to the stage Aleksandra Piątkowska.
Good morning, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues and friends. I feel privileged to welcome you today on behalf of the Polish presidency in the EU to this fourth edition of the European Humanitarian Forum. A lot has changed since last year's, and those developments are truly worrying. Humankind needs to face a global crisis which are complex and interconnected. As we speak, more than 300 million people urgently need life-saving assistance, from Ukraine to Sudan, Middle East, Sahel, Myanmar and Haiti. We still operate on emergency mode, with more and more people in need and less resources. We are struggling to respond and adapt to changing circumstances. Putting into question the value of multilateral system only adds to these challenges. This picture is grim, but unfortunately true. But on the brighter side, there is a significant crowd of truly dedicated humanitarian community ready to face those challenges. And the European Humanitarian Forum has been organized once again to serve this purpose, to allow for a space of frank exchange of many pressing issues, to look for opportunities. Once again, being here, we are reminded about the profound impact that our collective actions can have in improving lives, in building resilience, and simply fostering hope for millions worldwide. Polish presidency has been honored to cooperate with the European Commission on making this event happen. Ladies and gentlemen, humanitarian work has always been at the heart of global solidarity. This specific word, solidarity, is very important for the Polish presidency due to historical associations, but also it has to be said that it largely reflects of international and internal European DNA. Whether responding to natural disasters, conflicts, displacements, of crisis of human dignity, we are driven by our shared commitments to alleviate suffering, to ensure protection of human rights, and to offer assistance to those most in need. Today, we stand united by this very spirit, working across borders, cultures, and communities to make a meaningful difference. And today, let me add to solidarity the concepts of building resilience that Polish presidency is putting a great attention in discussion on development and humanitarian actions. Building a resilient country is about strong institutions on one hand, and on the other is about resilient society. Resilience entails also giving dignity through access to the basic services like water and sanitation, health, food and education. Resilience means preparedness and anticipatory action. A lot of those elements the Polish presidency has been exploring, and we try to add a few more discussion by the end of our term. Here, let me encourage you to visit the exhibition in the main hall of how Polish NGOs contribute to building resilience and how they work on the field. Ladies and gentlemen, this event brings together experts, advocates and stakeholders from various sectors, and I am excited about the conversations, knowledge sharing and collaboration that will take place over the course of our time together. Our collective expertise, resources and determinations are vital in addressing the complexities of the humanitarian challenges we face today, and in charting a path towards a more equitable and compassionate future for all. As we embark on this dialogue, let us keep in mind those in need across the globe. Let us remain inspired by the resilience they show. I look forward to the impactful discussion and meaningful collaborations that will unfold during this event. Welcome again, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Madam Piontkowska.